Welcome back, friends, to the This Day podcast. I love this podcast because I love bringing on my friends. I love bringing on people that God has placed in my life for such a time as this. And this week on the podcast, I have my sweet sister from Brazil, and now she lives here in Nashville. Her name is Victoria, and she is one of the most precious people I have ever met. Her heart for Jesus is so big, is so bold, and I love it. And I know you're going to love her too. So let's give some big love to sweet Victoria. She is a journalist. She's a communicator. But most importantly, she loves Jesus with every fiber of her sweet being. And so listen in now to the podcast after a word from our sponsor. Hi, everybody. We are going to take a quick break from the podcast to talk about our podcast sponsor, Faithful Counseling. Faithful Counseling provides mental health therapy from a biblical perspective. They have professional licensed therapists right there and ready to help you in your time of need. To get 10% off of your first month of therapy, you can go to my link, faithfulcounseling.com/thisdayministry. today to check out what they have to offer. Victoria, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself to everybody and just share a little bit about what you got going on right now.
Wow, so I'm Victoria, like I said, Brazilian. So sorry for my accent. At some point it can happen. But so I'm a Brazilian, 25 years old, journalist, Christian. I like to communicate. I like to talk to everyone. I'm a super people person, so everywhere I go, I try to do new friends. I try to like be around people. So, and share my life and share my stories. And my life is like, I don't usually I say like, I don't like to like open the Bible to start talking about the Bible, theology, whatever. I like to literally like talk about life, and my life is gonna be about Jesus, of course, because I mean, he's my he's my my everything. He's my life. So at some point it's gonna come up.
I love it. Oh, well, you are just the sweetest person. I remember when I first met you, I'm like, she is just the sweetest person. And you're always wearing something colorful. That is what I literally love about you. Like, this
I'm wearing
girl,
black now.
no, but you're always in like purples or neon greens, or like you're
Yes.
in something that's so cute and so colorful. You're precious. Oh
Oh,
my
thank you.
goodness. But girl, one question we ask everybody that comes on the podcast is, what is
Oui.
keeping you focused and just present in what God is doing in your life today?
Wow, that's such a good question. I should know this before. So, like I said, I'm from Brazil. So I've been living here for like 4 years in the United States. So I've been learning a lot. When I came here, I was like, oh, I'm ready to live whatever I want to, like when you think, oh God, you can give me that, all the connections, all the whatever money, anyways. And I was like, I'm ready for it. Let's go. So 4 years living apart, like 4 years living without my parents. They live in Brazil. So it's been like such a good time. Sometimes like some tears of joy and some tears of like little sad, missing my family a lot. But I mean, I usually say that in these 4 years is gonna something is happening like as it was like for 40 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I usually say that I've been Christian since I was a child. I grew up in church and whatever. But once you only have God, it is the point that you see like, oh, I only have God, so I'm gonna go deep, 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 deep. So the confidence, in letting go the control. I've been learning a lot about this, like living alone, living without my parents, living like being an immigrant. So
Yeah.
I think like letting go the control, letting go. I actually have a tattoo here. It's in Portuguese that says something like, I'm trying to translate, but something like while I'm walking, I'm waiting, like waiting on God. So I was so like, I want to have all the control in my life, all the control. So these
Yeah.
4 last years, I've been learning these, like how to letting go. And I think that makes sense for what God has in my life for now to like for the future, you know. Some stuff that he needed to heal me first, some stuff that he needs to guard my heart first, for whatever he has in store.
I love that. That's so sweet. I think that's such a good message that so many of us need to hear though. Like, because we're all, especially like us in the younger generation where we're just starting out, like learning to
Mm.
trust God through these crazy seasons of just like, hey God, what are you doing right now? Like, what are you doing? So that's so
Yes.
good, Victoria. And that's going to encourage so many people.
I
And your
hope.
story alone, like, okay, talk to us about coming over to the US. Like, what was that like for you? Because I know just moving states, I was scared. So you moved country.
Yeah, so I'm an only child. So can you imagine my mom like, oh my gosh, God, why? So I never had the American dream. In Brazil, some
Yeah.
people they usually have like, oh, I want to go to the United States at some point in life, whatever. Especially my city. My city, oh my gosh, there are like many people from my city in the United States, but especially in Boston area and
Yeah.
New Jersey. So I never had that. All the way in 2017, I guess, I came here. Actually, I went to New Jersey because I had some. My father was there at that time. My parents were they were getting divorced. So my father was there for like 3 months, and he went back to Brazil, and then he was here again. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get my vacation and go to United States to spend like a vacation time or whatever in New York. So I went there, and I was like, I came like in December or something like that, and I was like for almost 2 months, something. And then I was like, oh, okay, let's go back home and whatever. And I met this woman, that she's an attorney. This is like a super long story short, but she's an attorney, and she was, oh, can you do some stuff for my office and whatever? And at that time, I'm a journalist. I think I said that, right?
Yeah.
So I was in the college during that time, and I was studying like corp marketing. So I was like, oh, I think you should do this, you should do this. And we ended up being like super friends, and she's a kind of my mom. And then she invited me to come, and my life was all set up in Brazil. I was working I was working the news, like doing, oh, good night, it happened, do, working like an
Yeah.
anchor. And I had some opportunities to work like in the biggest TV network in Brazil. So it's like, oh, I'm ready for it. I'm gonna go and whatever. And then I had this opportunity to come to the United States. I was like, God, why should I go? Should I stay here in Brazil? So I came and I spent like 1 month, and then I went back to Brazil. And during that time I was like praying a lot. My mom, she's my best friend, so we are praying together, fasting, da, 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 da. I was like, oh my gosh, what I'm gonna do now? You know, like I love, my life was perfect with like little everything that I had, everything that I needed for that time. And I was 19, 20 years old. So, and then I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try it out. Uh, if I get like everything messy, whatever, I can come back. I can restart here. I'm gonna be like 25, 24, or whatever. But at least I'm gonna get some experience. I'm gonna, like I'm gonna get more people and. So I came 4 years ago on July 2019. But I
Wow.
never had this like, and it was great because actually last week turned 4 years. So I was writing down some text about like being in this life here, whatever, like the Instagram post, like 4 years anniversary. And when I was about to come, my mom received this prophet. She was talking to my mom, like, let your daughter grow up. Let your daughter grow up. And like I said, I'm the only child. She's my best friend and whatever. So I was like always like under
Yeah.
her wings, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's it.
Oh, I love that. That's the sweetest story. So I don't know if you knew this, but I'm also an only child. So not that it's
Aw.
the same thing because I didn't exactly move countries, but I totally
But,
can understand my
mhm.
sweet mama when I said that I wanted to move to Nashville. It was definitely a little difficult coming from Pennsylvania to Nashville for her, but we're so excited to see everything that God is doing in
Yeah.
the
When
story
did
that
you
He's
move
writing.
to
I
Nashville?
moved in 2021, so it's about 2.5 years for me.
Wow. It
So
is a sweet city. I love Nashville.
it is beautiful, and
Yeah.
it brings people like us together. So look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Now you said you you're working in journalism. You love to communicate and engage with people. And that is one of the first things I noticed about you when I met you, that you are just such the sweet people person. Like, talk about how God called you into this journey to communicate with people, to journalism, to engage.
So when I was a child, I was like super shy, like super, super, super. And something happened in the middle of the way. Something on the way shifted. I don't know why, but I think that's something that God did for like, oh, I'm gonna need you to do some stuff. And like I said, I'm a super people person, so I need to be around people to feel good. Of course, I have to do like some Victoria time, some lonely time, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. But I need to be like, I need to know that I have people that I'm gonna go out with, that I'm gonna be watch a movie, whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
so when like I said, I was working on the news, like doing videos and stuff, but like just for the TV, you know, like just for like television and stuff. And out of the blue, I I've been like in the church for like many, many years. But when I started to do like the news videos for the TV, the church that I was in Brazil, they invited me to do like the communication stuff. So I started to do like the news for the church, like the announcement, something like that, you know. So when I moved to United States, I was living in New Jersey for almost a year, and then I moved all the way to South Florida. And in South Florida, there is this church, this Brazilian church that the pastors they moved from Brazil, and they are like really famous. She has been singing in Brazil like since I was a child, since like 25 years ago. And they moved like 7 years ago to South Florida, something like that. And they started the church and whatever. And they invited me to be like the communication person for the church. Like I was leading all the communication stuff. And doing that, and in Brazil, I worked with them as well. Like they have this super huge ministry in Brazil. So it's like covering conference and this kind of stuff. So the way that God was putting like everything together, like the journalism and the kingdom stuff that they need, you know what I mean? Like with all the social medias and stuff, was like literally he was like literally like putting these together. So I didn't expect that. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna work on the news, I'm gonna do this. So this time that I was like working for the church, in the church, with the church, I was like, oh, I think I have to bring my experience in journalism. I think that was something that God put in my hands to help to build the kingdom. Because actually, when I this was like a super other thing, but there is some details. I'm super detail person as well. I don't know if you can say that. So when I was in the middle school, elementary, I grew up saying like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. And I was like, okay. And my father spent all the money because in Brazil to be a doctor, when you try to go to the college, it's like really hard. So he was like all my life spending money like in the better school and whatever. So when I was about to go to college, I was like my last day of on my last year of high school, I was like, you know what, I don't want to be a doctor. God, what am I gonna do now? It was so stressful. It was so stressful because I didn't know what I was about to do. I didn't know like at all. I started to do some psychology tests, you know, that type of test that you see whatever you have like the call for, whatever. Yeah. So it was so stressful. And then I ended up in journalism and everything happened. And then I started to do all this coverage for conference, for church and the podcast and interview. And I have a bunch of friends in Brazil they are like authors, singers, preachers and all this kind of stuff. So I ended up like being friends with more and more of them and being like this Christian journalist. I don't know what I am at, but something like that.
I love it, sis. You're a communicator. We'll say that. You're communicating for Jesus. That's what we're gonna call it.
I guess.
Oh my goodness.
I like that.
I love it. Oh, but that's such a great story. That's such a girl. What would you say to somebody that is kind of like you right now that wants to pursue this crazy dream or feels God's like call in their life to do something that they don't necessarily know what is going on, but they know God's calling them to something bigger than themselves? What advice would you give them?
Well, that's kind of hard to say right now because I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm like right now, I was talking to my mom a couple hours ago, I guess, FaceTiming, and I was like, Mom, I don't know what God's gonna do. I'm like in this right now, I'm like in the middle of doubts, in the middle of like, I don't know what's the next step. Like I said, I was working this church in South Florida, and my life was all set up in South Florida. My life was like perfect. I was getting all the money that I need and extra. I was getting all the attentions. I was getting like all the friends, I was like in the perfect life, you know what I mean? Like living the perfect life. And I felt something that I was like, I think I'm not in the right place anymore. I think I have to move on. And that is fun because yesterday we had the service at the TBCO, and then Alex was preaching a message about the message title was "Move On," and they are talking about these like for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, last month, anyways. And I was like, wow, I think God is talking something to me. And some like I said, the first question, I started like learning how to drop off the control, you know. So I think that's the thing. I've been like I said, right now I'm like, I don't know what's gonna be the next step, but I think the thing is, when I was leaving my life, my house in South Florida to come to Nashville, I was like, I don't know what's gonna do now. I don't know where I'm going to, but I was feeling peace. I was feeling that I was doing the right thing. And I think that's the thing. When you ask God, and by the way, I think during March, I was like I said, I'm a super people person. I need to be around people. I need to go out. I need to be like, woo, with everyone. But in March, I was like, you know what? I need to listen to God right now. I need to be quiet. I need to be just me and him. I need to be like out of everyone. I need to be here right now. I was like kind of like in the secret place every single day, just me and God, just me and God. I wasn't like going out. I wasn't literally going out. I wasn't like with friends, with social media and stuff. I had this time that was precious to listen to God. And it was a time that I was like feeling that I wasn't in the right place. I wasn't like doing the thing that I needed to do. And I was like, I need to move on. And then I ended up here in Nashville. And I'm still trying to figure it out. But the thing is, I feel peace. I feel that God is God is preparing my heart. I even posted, I think on Monday, a video on my Instagram saying about this. Like, I've been asking God every single day, God, guard my heart, because we can see like many stuff that is gonna like kind of destroy all the feelings, even like it's gonna try to destroy our faith. But once you like asking God, guard my heart for everything that I'm seeing, you're gonna go like, you're gonna move on and you're gonna keep going on because you know who is calling you, you know, like who is your guide, you know, like. So I think that's it. Like, ask him. He says, knock the door and I'm gonna answer. Ask and I'm gonna answer. So I think that's it. God loves when and appreciates when we have like hunger, when we want to obey, when we want to do something that he wants us to do. So even though I don't know what's gonna be the next step right now, like for all my heart, I'm saying this. But so I really don't know. But I think I'm 100% sure that he's gonna do something that's gonna be good for me, you know, like because he promised us life and life abundantly. So, but you have to obey, and to obey, you have to sit down and listen to him.
Absolutely. Victoria, that's so good. That speaks so much life. And it speaks to your faithfulness too, to just go no matter, like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, you don't know the good, the bad, the in between of your next couple of months, couple of weeks, a couple of hours, even.
Yes.
Like, you're just going in obedience. And that's so, so, so good. And it speaks volumes of your character and just your relationship with Christ right now. And I think, God's going to honor you in so, so many ways.
I listened to this new song from Tiffany, I forgot her last name, from Elevation Worship.
Okay.
And she just released some songs, a new album, and the song is Obey. I've listened like a lot. And she says, I don't know, I'm not like obeying because I want, husband, not because I have to, but because I love you. So I'm gonna obey God, not just because I have to obey him. I'm gonna obey him because I love him. And I know that he loves me back. Actually, I love him because he loves me first.
Wow.
So once he loves me, I know that he's gonna glorify something in my life, through my life, for people. So the pressure, the transition season that I'm living in, if I get to this, he's gonna glorify something through my life. So
that's so good.
To obey the best I can.
Yes, and God's gonna use that. God's gonna see your faithfulness, and he's gonna see the little seeds that you've planted, and he's gonna water those up, and he's gonna spring up those seeds, and he's gonna use you for his glory 100%.
Amen.
Now, girl, we have to talk about one more important thing. Your incredible podcast, sis. It's amazing.
Aww.
There is so many cool people on there. It's so cool to see you just ministering to your friends, your family, all the incredible people. So just share a little behind the scenes.
Sure. So like I said, I was working the church, and you know how it's to work in the church, right? Like doing all the stuff, and I was traveling a lot, all the conference and stuff. So I didn't have like time to stop and do some stuff, like some Victoria stuff, some like videos and stuff. So I was like, I used to have a YouTube channel, and it was really like all the way, like I stopped it at all. So, and on March of 2022, I received this message from this pastor. He's a Brazilian pastor who went to my church, and he prophesied he didn't know me at that point. Now we are like kind of friends and whatever, but he didn't know me. And he said, "Oh, the studio was released." I was like, "Wow, what studio is that?" And I was like, "Okay, I mean, I received it, but I don't know which studio is this." And I take photos and like do some shots and stuff. But I was like, you know what? I love taking photos, but I don't want to be like a photographer, like full-time photographer. So I like to take photos of concerts and stuff. So why the studio? And I was like living the life, and then I started to receive another like words of knowledge about podcasts. I received this message for this woman from the church that I was part of, and she was like, "Oh, Vicky," they call me Vicky. So so she was like, "I had a dream that you were hosting a podcast and stuff, and he was like, "And that's gonna be the name." And I love like everything about joy. I have a tattoo. Like people usually say, like, "You're so joyful with all the colors, the purple."
You are so joyful. Come on, girl.
So it's like, and she was like, "It's gonna be joy cast, something like that." And I was like, "You know what? Like I said, I prefer to obey God than anything else." So it's like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna buy the joycast.com, Instagram joycast, but when I was about to try to search it, I saw that someone has the joycast. I was like,
no.
But like 2 hours after, I was about to get some cappuccino and I saw this sugar that says enjoy. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I took a picture like 2 hours after that. So, yeah, 2 hours. It's something like that. So I was like, I took that picture. I was like, "Oh, that's a cool name, enjoy." And I never thought about this. And then when she said this, I was like, "You know what? I know that's gonna be the name, Enjoy Cast." So I bought all the dominions, all the like everything that I needed. And then it was on a Wednesday, and yeah. So on Saturday, I received another message of this woman from the church as well. And I was talking to the first woman that had the dream, and we were talking together, and this other woman came and she was like, "Vicky, why don't you have a podcast?" We look at each other, was like, "What?" So I was like, I have to start it at some point. And then I was planning to start the podcast and everything else. And I ended up here in Nashville in January when we met. And these people from Capital Music, they invited me to a meeting, and they were like, "Oh, we want to bring our artists to the Brazilian community, to Brazilian public. And I don't know if you have a podcast, but we can like bring our artists for your podcast and you can interview them." I was like, "Oh, you know what? I think I have, but I haven't started yet."
No way. Girl.
So during that time, I was like, okay, I have to figure out how I'm going to start it. And once I was about to start, everything came like wrong. The studio that I was about to record, this guy that was working there, he wasn't working anymore. Like everything was messy. Everything was like not working good to start it. And it's like, "God, if you want me to do this, bring favor, bring people that is gonna help me." And then he literally brought some people from this other Brazilian church in Miami that are like helping me a lot. They had all the like Black Magic cameras. They had like a bunch of good stuff. And then I ended up like recording 7 episodes. So I just released the first one with this friend of mine, and he's an amazing artist. Oh my God, he's awesome. And then I'm gonna release the next one, I think, in the next week, and then I'm gonna start recording with some people here in Nashville as well. So this is a long story short, but like God is doing something.
I love that. Oh, that's so good. So good. God was so faithful to you, and you can just see it in the faithfulness of just your podcast and how it's been so encouraging. just in
Oh,
the few episodes that are coming out and that are out now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. And I have this first episode with this guy, and the third one was with an American. Uh,
Oh,
she has like a kind of non-profit organization with sexual abuse, like kids sex abuse, and it was beautiful, beautiful, and seeing like all the language going together, like the Portuguese and
wow.
English, and we had a translator doing like all the way, because I mean, my public, most of them are Brazilians, some don't of them don't
Yeah.
speak English at all. So I was like, I think that's the best way to do it. Like just have like Portuguese and English. It was beautiful. I was like, when I was seeing that, I was like, God, what are you doing right now? You know, like bringing all like different cultures, different people, different languages for one kingdom, for your glory. I was like mind blowing.
Girl, he's doing more than you could ever think or imagine. That's what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
Literally blowing your mind. That's what he's
Yeah,
doing.
literally. Yeah.
Oh. Well, sis, I'm so glad we could do this today. I'm so glad that you could come on here. And
Thank you.
I just cannot wait to see all that God has in store for you. I'm so excited for you.
Amen. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was so great.
It
So,
was
so I've
so,
been planning this for like a couple months, I guess.
we have, it's the schedules. It's the
Yes.
schedules. We're going to blame our schedule.
And you see, I was moving and I was like trying to
Yes,
figure out why.
I know. You were moving, and I'm like, is she in town? Is she not in town? She's always on the go. She's always doing something fun. I kind of want her life, but it's okay. Oh my goodness. But
So
you
good.
seriously, you're so sweet. You radiate joy, and I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You are the same. It's like with the sweet voice, with like super,
Oh,
super, super kind. I can tell it. Yeah. And you
oh,
should hang more. Now you are in Nashville. I'm in
yes,
Nashville, so let's
you're in
hang out.
Nashville. We need to. We need to do coffee. We need to do lunch. We need to do
Yes.
something.
Yes. Let's do it. I'm down.
Let's do it anytime. Anytime. You can introduce me to all your favorite spots since you've been here.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's do it.
Let's do it, sis. Well, I will talk to you soon. Y'all, that was such a sweet conversation with Victoria. She is absolutely precious. Definitely follow her on all the social media and keep an eye out for her podcast. It is so sweet and so sweet to see how just the culture of Brazil and the culture of America come together, and it shows the body of Christ so, so well. So follow her on all the social media platforms. If you are wondering what our ministry has been up to, follow us at This Day Ministry on all the social media platforms as well. Y'all, I pray that you know today that you are so, so, so loved by the God of the universe.